What's up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast. Another week of ball in the books. Was a weird weekend though. A lot of blowouts in both college and NFL, especially NFL though. I lost every single fantasy matchup this weekend, so that was nice. Uh, how was your football weekend, Jimmy? Your
Dude,
damn
our
Vikings.
Vikings got to win somehow. I was genuinely shocked and went 1-2 in fantasy, but I got my first. No, actually 2-1. I got my first. What was it called? Uh, what league is it called? Sleeper league fantasy win.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling all right. And the Bears lost in embarrassing fashion, so I'm feeling great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's middling
Yeah,
feeling
it's
right now in fantasy. A lot of 2-2 records on my leagues. But let's get to college football here. Starting out on Friday. This is we had the first of two games we had on Friday. Louisville getting it done 13-10 over NC State. They came back from down 10-0, scored 13 unanswered to win the game. I told y'all the Friday games, the unders were going to hit, and that they did. Low scoring affairs on each one. But I was impressed by Louisville coming back against, again, NC State is a very good defense. I know Notre Dame put up 45 on them, but that was with, the weirdness of the long lightning delay that they had. But still, I think NC State defensively is going to carry them the rest of the year. Jack Plummer for the Cardinals there, 21 to 35, 60%, 286, one touchdown, two picks, and a fumble. Turnovers really crushed Louisville's drives in this game, but luckily their defense got some of their own, exactly the amount of turnovers that Plummer had from NC State's quarterback Brennan Armstrong, 13 to 25, 52%. 112, two picks, 17 carries, 61 yards, and a fumble of his own. Not a lot of running in this one outside of Brennan Armstrong. Running back Jawar Jordan of Louisville led the game outside of Armstrong there, 16 carries, 32 yards, and a 26-yard reception. You had Louisville wide receiver Chris Bell leading the game in receiving, 3 catches, 85 yards, and a score. And defensively, like I said, it's a good game on both sides. I'm going to go with NC State's linebacker Peyton Wilson. He is quite the beast in the middle of the Wolfpack defense. 10 tackles, 6 of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection. NC State did cover, though, plus 3.5 by the hook, under 56.5 easily. Number 19, Oregon State, 21-7 over number 10, Utah, giving the Utes their first loss. It's another game without Cam Rising for the Utes, and once again, the offense just struggled mightily. Nate Johnson, the freshman on the road, was not a great game for him at all. But DJ Uiagalelei didn't have the best game either. Luckily, the Beavs defense for them shut down the running game for Johnson and co. on the other side and got key turnovers because Utah had a chance to make it a one-score game after a couple of penalties from the Beavs defense, and they picked off, or it's not a pick. I think they had a fumble of, I don't know. No, it was a pick. I don't know who threw the pick because I didn't write a pick down. But anyways, DJ Uiagalelei, 14 of 25, 56%, one touchdown, one pick, 6 carries for 18 yards. Nate Johnson, like I said, the starter in this game, 8 of 23, 34.8%. Oh, the pick was from Bryson Barnes, by the way. the other Utah quarterback. 8 of 23, though, for Nate Johnson, 34.8%, 101 yards and a touchdown. Bryson Barnes came in then once they were losing in the fourth quarter, needed a better arm and more of a passing game, which he does best. 5 of 8, 62.5%, 40 yards and the pick. Aiden Childs also came in late for Oregon State through one pass for 23 yards. Oregon State running back Damian Martinez having a great season. 16 carries, 65 yards, a touchdown, lead the game in rushing. Oregon State wide receiver Silas Bolden leading the game in receiving. 100-yard performance for him. 6 catches, 100 yards, touchdown. Also on the ground, 2 carries, 53 yards, and a rushing score as well. That was the backbreaker on 4th and 1. That was a nice pitch play that he took to the house. And defensively, I'm going to go with Utah. Defensive end Jonah Ellis, 6 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. Oregon State cover -4 under 43. On Saturday, number 6, Penn State. Nittany Lions rolling over Northwestern 41-13. It was a little bit of a sleepy start, but Penn State rolled like they should eventually. Drew Aller, another road game, was not the greatest. 18 of 33, 54.5%, 189, 1 touchdown, and a rushing score as well. Bo Pribula came in later. All he did was throw a 30-yard touchdown on his only attempt. Ben Bryant, though, for the Wildcats, 14 of 25, 56%, 122 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Brendan Sullivan came in later, was not close to good. 206, 33.3%, 8 yards a pick, 7 carries for 25 yards. For Penn State on the ground, Nicholas Singleton led the game in rushing, 21 carries, 80 yards, a touchdown, a fumble. That was on the opening kickoff of the game. 6 catches, 39 yards, and a receiving score also. Trey Potts, the Minnesota transfer, also 2 touchdowns on the day, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. Caught that 30-yarder from Pribula late in the game. He's going to have to step up soon if Katron Allen cannot play next week or in the ensuing couple of weeks. Leading the game in receiving, Penn State wide receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith, 4 catches, 86 yards. And defensively, I am going to go with Penn State defensive tackle Zane Durant, 4 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss. Penn State covered -27 over 48. And they have this really crazy good streak of 30-plus point games, beating teams by 14-plus. It's a great time to be a Nittany Lion. Number 8, USC, 48-41 over Colorado, 2 straight losses by the Buffs. And this was the game that made me say USC is not going to be a national title contender because they don't have a defense once again.
Yeah, I got to agree. This game should have been over, and Colorado kind of came back. And like a good team with a decent defense would have held Colorado to around 30 points. Like giving up 21 unanswered points in the second half. I'm not going to pretend Colorado doesn't have a talented offense, but it's not the best offense in college football. Like 21 unanswered points when you're supposed to be a team that's competing for, acts like it's competing for a national championship like that. That was really telling. I mean, Oregon held them down, but USC just plainly didn't.
Yeah, 48-21 with 2:14 to go in the third quarter, 20 straight from Colorado to almost bring them back, which was kind of crazy. But, yeah, no points in the fourth quarter for USC. Alex Grinch once again on the hot seat there at SC. But the man did it again on offense. Mr. Williams, 30 of 40, 75%, 403 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. Yeah, that was tied for second in USC history in passing touchdowns, in single game passing touchdowns. Just behind, I don't expect you to know it. Do you know who the number one guy was? With 7.
No
Cody
idea.
Kessler. Cody Kessler.
Cody Kess, my guy.
Old USC quarterback. Browns quarterback as well.
Browns legend.
Yeah. 5 carries, 12 yards for Williams there. Shedeur Sanders for the Buffs, 30 of 45, 66.7%, 371, 4 touchdowns, and a pick, 14 carries, 50 yards, and a rushing score. I mean, we'll see what Colorado record-wise is. I mean, Shedeur is still putting up numbers that would put him in the Heisman conversation. So, despite the team losses.
Yeah. I mean, all things considered, even with just a horrific defense on Colorado's side, this team is far better than they were last year. I mean, Deion gets some credit for just absolutely turning this, what was a garbage football team, into, at the very least, might compete for a bowl game, at least next year, I think. I think they'll be bowl eligible next year. Maybe this year.
I just need one more win to hit their win over, their wins over, which is 3.5 this year.
I mean, I think it's
they should get it this week. They should get it this weekend. They're
Absolutely.
at Arizona State. If they don't get it this weekend, they'll get it next weekend because they're hosting Stanford.
Yeah. I mean, you look at their schedule. They play some really good teams, but they also play just some really bad teams. I mean, I see no reason why they can't end the season with 6 wins, because I think they could beat Arizona State, Stanford, and Arizona.
That's the 3 that you have to get to be bowl eligible.
Yeah, and I think they could sneak one against any other 4 teams because they play UCLA, Oregon State, Washington State, and Utah. I mean, I see no reason why, with how good their offense is, I see no reason why they can't just steal one from.
I don't think they're going to be any of the 3 ranked teams the rest of the way. Just Washington State is probably their best chance to beat a ranked one out of those 3, but Oregon State and Utah's defenses, they're going to shut Shedeur down.
Maybe.
So, especially Utah.
Maybe. It all depends with Utah if their starting quarterback is healthy. Because, I mean,
which he will be. He'll be playing by the end of it because they got a bye this week. So, yeah. So the hope is that Cam Rising is back for Utah next week. Mm-hmm. Colorado, or actually, back to the stats here. USC running back Marshawn Lloyd, 13 carries, 84 yards, touchdown, and a 12-yard reception. It's so hard not to say Lynch whenever I get Marshawn Lloyd. Colorado, how about the freshman wide receiver Omarion Miller? A massive day, 7 catches, 196 yards, and a touchdown. True freshman there for Colorado. Get him more involved, maybe. Also, 100-yard day, though. USC wide receiver Taj Washington, 8 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown. 2 receiving touchdowns each by Colorado's Jimmy Horn Jr. and USC's Brendan Rice, former Colorado Buffalo, by the way. Defensively, there really wasn't a lot. I'm going to go with USC linebacker Mason Cobb, the Oklahoma State transfer, 13 tackles, 11 of them solos, 2 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection. Colorado, plus 22, covers easily over 74.5. I think I said the under in that one. Little bit over 89. Incredibly, that wasn't the highest scoring game of the week. Kentucky crushing number 22 Florida. This is what I wanted to see.
I saw this coming from 2 miles away.
Absolutely loved it. You and I also crushed Logan's Lone Wolf dreams in this game.
Logan, are you out of your mind? We've been crapping on Florida all all podcast long and you think they're going to beat Kentucky? Give me a break.
33-14 for the Wildcats over number 22 Florida. Graham Mertz for the Gators, 25 of 30, 83.3%, 244, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Devin Leary didn't have to do a lot. He wasn't that great either with what he did have to do. 9 of 19, 47.4%, 69 yards, touchdown. But that's okay because they have this guy that's from Vanderbilt named Ray Davis. He's a senior, 26 carries, 280 yards. That is 10.8 yards per carry. 3 touchdowns. Also caught a 9-yard touchdown. 4 total on the day for Davis. Got on my radar for sure now the rest of the way, especially this weekend against Georgia coming up. Big game in Athens. But yeah, I was disappointed though that they didn't use him a lot in the second half. He had like 250 or something. Or he had 206 at halftime, I think. And then I was like, bro, they just keep giving him the ball. I mean, he should have had 30 plus carries the way he was running it. I wanted him to break the record, the rushing record, whatever it is. It is 427 yards by Samaje Perine, but not the overall rushing record. I wanted him to. He didn't need a lot to break Kentucky's single game rushing record. Because Kentucky's single game rushing record was 299. So I was like, bro, you just give him a couple more carries, he'll probably get the 300 that you need.
Probably.
But anyways,
yeah, you won't.
Florida's wide receiver Ricky Pearsall led the game in receiving, 3 catches, 62 yards, a touchdown. And defensively, I'm going to go with Kentucky linebacker De'Aric Jackson, 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection. Kentucky -1 covers easily, over 44. Clemson 31-14 over Syracuse. You're lone wolf on this one, Jimmy.
Let's go.
Yeah, I just thought this would be closer. And it was for a good portion of the first half. But the way Syracuse has played Clemson the last 2 years, I just thought that this one was going to be a lot closer. Cade Klubnik for the Tigers, though, 23 of 37, 62.2%, 263, 2 touchdowns. Big thing for Klubnik, no turnovers. That was the biggest thing I saw from him in this game. Garrett Schrader also didn't play very well for Syracuse. I was disappointed in his performance. 15 of 29, 51.7%, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 15 carries, 24 yards, and a fumble. Carlos Del Rio Wilson came in later, completed his only pass for 5 yards, and had a 15-yard carry. The son of Jack Del Rio. Don't remember where Jack is right now. Is he the Commanders DC? I can't recall.
Let me look up Commanders. Yeah, they had. Oh no, is it Luke Del Rio? Yeah. Oh no, it is Jack Del Rio. Luke Del Rio is like an assistant.
Oh, okay. Clemson running back Will Shipley led the game in rushing, 18 carries, 61 yards, a touchdown, and 2 receptions for 0 yards. Clemson wide receiver Tyler Brown, I believe another freshman. I might be wrong on his class, but 9 catches, 153 yards, and a 23-yard carry to lead the game in receiving. And defensively, I'm going to go with the bottom guy there. Syracuse linebacker Leon Lowry, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection. Though I will say Clemson linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr. impressed me in this game, and he's having a good season. Clemson -7 covered. Under 52. JMU go Dukes 5-0 for the purple and I think it's gold. I don't really know exactly what their secondary color is, but 31-23 over South Alabama. Great win. Close one. I thought JMU had it in the bag early. Let South Alabama come back, but luckily for the Dukes, they got the win here, 5-0. And another good start to the season after winning the Sun Belt last year, though they couldn't actually win the Sun Belt. I think they're banned also this year from the conference championship and postseason play because it's only their second year in FBS, which I still think is the dumbest thing ever. If you're good, you're good. Like, let them win the freaking conference championship because they would have won it last year had they been in the championship game because they were that good. Good again, though, this year. I didn't expect them to be as good without some of the guys that they lost. But anyways, Carter Bradley for the Jags here, 28 of 50, 56%, 299, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Jordan McLeod for the Dukes, 12 of 22, 54.5%, 241, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 10 carries for 61 yards. JMU running back Kalen Black led the game or tied the game with quarterback Jordan McLeod in rushing, 19 carries, 61 yards, and a 3-yard reception. 100-yard days on each side. USA's wide receiver Colin Lacey, 6 catches, 132 yards. And then JMU's tight end Zach Horton, 3 catches, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns for the big man there. Defensively, I got to go with, look at that stat line from JMU defensive lineman Jalen Green. 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss, and a 24-yard pick 6 for the defensive lineman, sir. Have yourself a day, Jalen Green. Also a day from JMU linebacker Aiden Fisher, by the way. You can see his stat line there. JMU covered -1 easily, over 48.5. Go Dogs, number 1 Georgia, 27-20 over Auburn. It was scary. I was at the Brewers game watching this one while we tailgated. But got the win. A win is a win, right? That's what people say anyways. I guess in college football, all wins are not treated equally, though. Oh, well. Some people were calling for Georgia to get dropped out of the number 1 spot. They did not.
They shouldn't. You won the game. You won the game against a SEC rival in their home stadium. Auburn's going to play hard against Georgia. Right. No one else, to me, proved themselves to be the number 1 team. What, are you going to give it to Michigan? Michigan? Give me a break. Georgia's number 1, obviously.
We kick the shit out of Nebraska, as we'll see.
Oh, Nebraska. You beat up Nebraska. Good for you. It's like me beating up a kindergartner. Give me a break.
But yeah, even though I am a Dog fan, I objectively say, they're the champs till they're not. They should be number 1 till they lose.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
They didn't lose.
We'll see what the CFP thinks, because that is coming up a couple weeks. I can't remember when the first one is coming out. I do not know. I can't figure out when I don't know exactly what to search for when the rankings are coming out. Oh, here we go. Selection committee ranking schedule. Halloween Halloween is the first rankings, so we still got a couple weeks.
That's right.
All right, cool. So people can be mad at the AP for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, Carson Beck, though, another 300-yard performance. I didn't think he played terribly, and his stats show that he really didn't play bad. It was just Georgia stalled a lot in the first half. The running back couldn't hold on to the dang ball for some odd reason, and they just look sloppy. And they've started slow in most of their games, but what do good teams do, though? They win. They get the job done. And I think it's also a massive nod to Kirby Smart and the coaching staff, because you can see that they're making the adjustments to win the game, because they do. They win the second half, and that's how they win these games, like they did against South Carolina, like they did against Auburn here. So Carson Beck, though, 23 of 33, 69.7%, 313, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Peyton Thorne, 10 of 19, 52.6%, 82 yards, 1 pick. The surprising thing with Peyton Thorne is that his legs killed the Georgia defense all day.
Oh, yeah, he was moving.
12 carries for 92 yards, and that was like, I mean, I understand why. That, like, no one thought that Peyton Thorne was going to be the guy that killed them with his legs. Like, Robbie Ashford is the guy that runs, not Peyton Thorne usually. But yeah, that was a thing that Georgia, I think, got caught off guard by, and they corrected that in the second half. But Robbie Ashford also played, like I said, completed his only pass for 6 yards, 4 carries, 33 yards, and a touchdown. Georgia running back Dejon Edwards, outside of Thorne, led the game in rushing, 19 carries, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the man that everyone's talking about from this game, the best player on the dang planet, tight end Brock Bowers for Georgia. 8 catches, 157 yards, a touchdown. I mean, again, this guy should go top 5 next year in the draft. Like, there's no way. He's just too good.
The only problem is I don't see a lot of teams in the top 5 of drafting that are tight end hungry. I guess they'd go in top 10.
Unfortunately, the Panthers don't have their first round pick, or they would take him in a heartbeat, because they
probably would. I'm trying to think who in the top 10 would draft him. Maybe Texans, they don't have their first round pick. They traded that to Arizona.
No, yeah.
Maybe Arizona? Like, is Zach Ertz replacement?
As the ranks look right now, I could see Denver.
Denver makes sense.
I mean, they have Dulcich, but he's injured once again. He's on IR right now. The Jets with Aaron Rodgers coming back next year, that offense would be ridiculous, though they need a tackle. That's their only issue at 6.
That would be a fun one, but I think they need to get offensive line.
Yeah,
very clear.
Patriots, the Bengals as well, but they need offensive line help.
Maybe Patriots, because I mean, Bill Belichick loves tight ends. So
the Cardinals, if Ertz retires this year, I could see the Cardinals as well.
Do you think the Raiders would?
No, because they just drafted Michael Mayer this year.
That's right.
Second round.
They did take Mayer.
New
York Giants.
Though 2 tight end sets would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
And you got Adams outside, Jacoby Myers, and then you got Brock and Mayer.
I think there is one we're missing, and I think this would be a really good one. Green Bay. I know they did just get Luke Musgrove, but I'm not super impressed with Musgrove. I think, like, if Green Bay stays near top 10, I think they might get him.
I don't think they, just like Vegas, though, I don't think, because they spent a second round pick on Musgrave, I don't think they would. New Orleans, though. New Orleans has a need for a tight end. Jawan Johnson just is not doing it right now. But other than that, I mean, The Chargers would be super fun. They have Gerald Everett right now. I think he's on an expiring contract though. And they have some other guys there like Donald Parham and stuff too. Texans could use one. I think there's going to be someone trades up for him. I think there's going to have to be because he's just too talented to wait that long.
I just saw a mock draft that the Vikings taking J.J. McCarthy. I want to throw it. That is just no, absolutely not.
Hey, Vikings are in position, right? They're at number 5.
We're in position to like take a quarterback. It's not taking a quarterback. It's taking J.J. McCarthy.
Granted, I don't. They wouldn't do this because why would Chicago do that? But dude, you can do what the Panthers did. Run it up.
Caleb Williams. I don't know. The thing is,
they can't refuse.
Yeah, the thing is though, A, we would have to give them an offer they couldn't refuse, and B, I don't see them sticking with Justin Fields. I think they might give up on him, and I think they're gonna look at this draft and see an opportunity to move on from Justin Fields and try someone else.
Yeah, but what if the Vikings trade Kirk Cousins plus 2 first-round picks?
Bears have no interest in Kirk Cousins. Like they're not there yet competing, and Kirk Cousins is what 36.
Plus, he has no trade clause. He
has no trade clause. I mean, I would see what could we trade. I would think it would be something like a couple firsts, a second, and a fourth, and then
we got way too off course.
But anyway, I mean, we have the mock drafts that we could do in the off-season show, so we'll worry about that then.
So Brock Bowers, crazy good second half here to win the game. Defensively, I am going to go with the top guy there, Georgia linebacker Smile Munden. Junior, 11 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. And by the way, this is a tight end game, as you can see. Top receiver from each side was tight end Rivaldo Fairweather for the Tigers there. Auburn, plus 14, covers easily, over 44.5. Number 2, Michigan, 5-0, 45-7, thrashing of Nebraska. First time they've scored over 35 this season. And McCarthy didn't even lead the game in passing. I don't know if he is German, but I just assume he's German because of his name. Heinrich Harburg.
Makes sense.
Very poor German accent there, I know. 14 of 25, 56%, 199, 1 pick. J.J. McCarthy, 12 of 16, 75%, 2 touchdowns, 2 carries, 30 yards, and a rushing score as well. Michigan also played 2 other quarterbacks. Jack Tuttle, the Indiana transfer, 3 of 4, 75%, 23 yards. And Jaden Denigal, the freshman, completed his only pass for an 8-yard touchdown and 2 carries for 10 yards. Blake Corum, who we looked at on Saturday Scout Tool this past weekend. Pretty good game, 16 carries, 74 yards, a touchdown. And to lead the game in rushing. Leading the game in receiving was the Virginia transfer, Nebraska's wide receiver Billy Kemp IV. 4 catches, 61 yards. 2 touchdown day for Michigan's wide receiver Roman Wilson as well. And defensively, I'm going to go with Michigan defensive end Josiah Stewart, Coastal Carolina transfer from last year. 5 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Michigan minus 17 covered easily, over 39.5 by themselves. That's terrible. 39.5 in this game? Good. Why? Hook 'em. Number 3, Texas, 40-14 over number 24, Kansas. This is another statement win for Steve Sarkisian and the Longhorns here. 25 of 35 for Quinn Ewers, 71.4%, 325, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 7 carries, 40 yards, 2 rushing scores for Ewers. Didn't know that Jalen Daniels wasn't going to play in this game. Jason Bean played the entire game for the Jayhawks. That really limited their offense, I thought. 9 of 21, 42.9%, 136, 1 touchdown, 7 carries, 42 yards, and a fumble. Jason Bean is a good quarterback, but he's not Jalen Daniels. Jalen Daniels is so much more dynamic, and I think has a bigger arm as well. So hopefully, I didn't even hear anything about Jalen Daniels, but hopefully he's back this week for Kansas and they can get back on track. But Quinn Ewers had a 300-yard day. He really didn't have to, though, because for another week, man, Jonathan Brooks, this kid is lighting it up, and he's the catalyst of this Longhorn offense right now. 21 carries, 218 yards, 10.4 per, 2 touchdowns, and a 23-yard reception. And this kid is literally he's a junior. I'm trying to see where he's at here. No, he's a sophomore. So that's the crazy thing. We get him at least for one more year because he's first eligible for the 2025 draft. So I'm excited to keep watching Jonathan Brooks here with the Horns. Texas wide receiver Adonai Mitchell had pretty much his best game of his career at Georgia or Texas. 10 receptions, 141 yards, a touchdown for the UGA transfer there. And defensively, there wasn't a lot. So I'm going to go with Kansas defensive line, Jeremy Robinson. 3 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and a pass deflection. Texas, minus 15.5, covers easily, under 61. Maryland, Terps, rolling in at 5-0, 44-17 over Indiana. Talia Tagovailoa, man, he's a killer. 24 of 34, 70.6%, 352, 5 touchdown passes, also 3 carries for 15 yards, another score on the ground for him, accounting for all touchdowns on the day for Maryland. They also got a safety, by the way. Taven Jackson for IU, 17 of 29, 58.6%, 113, 1 pick. Brendan Sorsby also played in this one, 7 of 11, 63.6%, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 carries for 5 yards. Hoosiers still trying to figure out the quarterback situation there in Indiana. Indiana running back Christian Turner, the Wake Forest transfer, led the game in rushing, 15 carries, 61 yards, and 2 receptions for 0 yards. Massive day for Maryland wide receivers Ty Felton and Jayshon Jones. Felton, 7 catches, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Jones, 6 catches, 121 yards. Defensively, I'm going to go with Maryland linebacker Caleb Wheatland, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. And let's go Terps this weekend as they head to the Horseshoe.
Gotta be a good one. I think I'm more nervous about facing Maryland than probably a lot of other teams because Maryland, when you see an undefeated, unranked team, you gotta be a little nervous. Like undefeated, unranked teams are some of the most dangerous teams in college football because all they're thinking is, listen, 1 win and we're ranked. Like 1 big win, we're ranked. And that's probably what Maryland's thinking. It's like, listen, we go out there, we beat Ohio State, we're ranked. We're a ranked team.
And 2 other things. It's an intra-divisional matchup in the Big Ten East. And Maryland has played Ohio State very tough the last few years or so under Mike Loxley there. So, yeah, I think it'll be a good one.
It'll be a great one.
Especially because there are a bunch. Maryland's a veteran team with Talia Tagovailoa at quarterback, Roman Hemby at running back as well. They have a lot of seniors on that team that would really love to beat Ohio State. So we'll see on Saturday. But Maryland minus 14.5 covers easily over 50. Number 23, Mizzou, also 5-0, 38-21 over Vandy. And I've been impressed ever since the Kansas State win. I haven't even really watched Missouri, but I've seen the stat lines. Brady Cook, Luther Burden III, that's all you need to know. Those two are just lighting people up. Cook here, 33 of 41, 80.5%, 395, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers there. Ken Seals for Vandy, 20 of 31, 64.5%, 259, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a rushing touchdown. Tigers running back Nathaniel Pete led the game in rushing, 12 carries, 71 yards, and 1 reception for -5 yards. And like I mentioned, Luther Burden for Missouri, 100-yard day. Actually, him and the Oklahoma transfer there, Theo Weiss Jr., both over 100. Burden, though, 11 receptions, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. Weiss, 10 receptions, 118 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. And defensively, wasn't a lot in this game. I'm going to go with Missouri defensive back Chris Abrams-Drain. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 1 pass deflection, and a pick for the second straight week. Mizzou minus 14 covers over 53.5. Number 20, Ole Miss, 55-49 over number 13, LSU. You lone wolf this one as well.
I had belief that LSU would play well at home. I mean, they did offensively, just not defensively.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for you, you get the win here. 2-1 on the lone wolves for you. In college football, which led the way. But anyways, yeah, I mean, this game was ridiculous. Jaden Daniels, I don't know how you lose with this line, but 27 of 36, 75%, 414 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. And then all he did was run 15 times for 99 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Also did fumble once, but that's ridiculous to lose with 513 total yards and 5 total touchdowns. I don't know how you do that. But Jackson Dart also lit up LSU defensively. 26 of 39, 66.7%, 389, 4 touchdowns, 7 carries, 50 yards, and a touchdown. So he matched Jaden Daniels with 5 touchdowns and just a little bit shy with 439 total for Dart there. Also, the game we've been waiting to see, Quinshon Judkins, the SEC Freshman of the Year and All-SEC, AP All-SEC, or All-American, Freshman All-American team last year. He just ran over the Tigers defense. 33 carries, 177 yards, a touchdown. Also caught a 4-yard touchdown as well. That's the performance I've been waiting to see out of him. Has had kind of a slow sophomore season so far until this one. And the Notre Dame transfer there for LSU, Logan Diggs at running back, also over 100, 19 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions, 22 yards. Ulysses Bentley, the 4th SMU transfer from last year, 10 yards short of 100 on just 9 carries as well. And then, of course, with all the passing yards, you had 100-yard receivers, 4 of them to be exact, 2 on each side. Trey Harris for Ole Miss, 8 receptions, 153 yards, a touchdown. LSU's Brian Thomas Jr., he has been prolific alongside of Malik Neighbors, but leading the Tigers in receiving here. 8 catches, 124 yards, 3 touchdowns. For Ole Miss also, wide receiver Jordan Watkins, 5 catches, 103 yards, and a touchdown. And, of course, the guy that everyone was watching at wideout, LSU's Malik Neighbors, 8 catches, 102 yards in this one. Defensively, the bottom guy there, linebacker Ashanti Seastrunk for Ole Miss, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Ole Miss plus 3 wins outright, over 67 easily, 104 points in that game.
I thought this was a Big 12 game at first, but no, it's SEC.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Number 9, Oregon, crushing Stanford as they should, 42-6. Bo Nix, once again, excellent performance, 27 of 32, 84.4%, 290, 4 touchdowns, 3 carries, 18 yards. Justin Lamson got the start for the Cardinal, I believe, 11 of 20, 55%, 106 yards, 22 carries, 32 yards. Ashton Daniels also came in then at the end, the freshman, 3 of 4, 75%, 27 yards. Oregon running backs Bucky Irving and Jordan James tied for the lead in rushing, 13 carries, 88 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches, 23 yards for Irving. James, 6 carries, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Oregon wide receiver Troy Franklin continues to impress me every week. 7 catches, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. And defensively, you got to go with the bottom guy there, Oregon defensive end Brandon Dorless. 2 tackles, both of them solos, 1 sack, 1 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection. He's been on my radar since last week against Colorado. Oregon, minus 27 covered, under 59.5. Number 14, Oklahoma, 50-20 over Iowa State. This is the game we've been waiting to see from Oklahoma. They finally put it together offensively after 2 slow weeks against SMU and Cincinnati. But this was the get-right game for Dylan Gabriel on the Sooners offense before going into biggest game of the season, Red River rivalry this weekend. Dylan Gabriel, though, 26 of 39, 66.7%, 366, 3 touchdowns, a pick, 8 carries, 37 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 total on the day. Iowa State played 2 quarterbacks, Rocco Becht, 15 of 33, 45.5%, 188, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 5 carries, 13 yards, and J.J. Cole also playing there for the Cyclones, 4 of 4, 100%, 14 yards, and 3 carries for 10 yards. A lot of freshmen for Iowa State as they get through this betting issues that they had throughout their program. Abu Sama, the third for the Cyclones, led the game in rushing, 7 carries, 67 yards. Iowa State wide receiver Jaden Higgins led the game in receiving, 3 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, got to go with the bottom guy, Oklahoma defensive back Billy Bowman Jr., 3 tackles, 1 solo, 44-yard pick 6. Oklahoma minus 19.5 covers, over 48.5 Sooners by themselves. Troy, Logan got us on this one. 28-7 blowout of Georgia State. Gunnar Watson played excellent, 23 of 30, 76.7%, 256, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Darren Granger did not, unfortunately. I was very disappointed by Darren Granger's performance.
We all were.
19 of 29, 65.5%, 193, 2 picks, 11 carries, 25 yards, and a fumble. You can't turn the ball. -2 turnover margin between the 2 quarterbacks there. That's not how you win the game. Troy running back Kimani Vidal led the game in rushing, 23 carries, 76 yards, a touchdown, 2 receptions, 16 yards, and a receiving score as well. My guy, Marcus Carroll, though, 1 yard short of him, 19 carries, 75 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches, 37 yards. Highlighted him again on the Saturday Scout School show this past weekend. Troy and Georgia State both having 100-yard receivers here. Jabray Barber for the Trojans, 7 receptions, 121 yards, and wide receiver Robert Lewis for the Panthers, 6 catches, 114 yards. Defensively going with the bottom guy there, Troy corner O'Shea Fletcher, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 1 pass deflection, and a pick. Troy +1 wins outright under 50.5. This is the big one of the weekend. Number 11, Notre Dame, 21-14 comeback win over number 17, Duke. Sam Hartman showed why he's a veteran quarterback at the end of this game. Didn't play well most of it, 15 of 30, 50%, 222, 6 carries, 23 yards. And then they really didn't want to score. At least Marcus Freeman said they weren't really trying to score. But, my guy, Audric Estime, just had to break one out there at the end to win the game, which was nice to see. But, yeah, hopefully Riley Leonard is okay. I haven't really heard anything on him, but hurt his ankle late. It was a very nice gesture, sportsmanship by Sam Hartman to go over and literally wait like 5 minutes until he was out of the blue medical tent to see how he was. So that was nice to see at the end there. But Riley Leonard, not his best day, 12 of 27, 44.4%, 134, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 18 carries, 88 yards, and a fumble. Mentioned my guy, love Audric Estime, 18 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the game winner, 4 catches for 25 yards. Later in the game in receiving, Notre Dame tight end Mitchell Evans, 6 catches, 134 yards. Is this the start of another Notre Dame tight end? Is this the next guy?
If I know anything about Notre Dame, it's a tight end school and a safety school. Mm-hmm. As a Viking fan, I know two Notre Dame alum from my favorite teams ever, Kyle Rudolph and Harrison Smith, that both come from Notre Dame. And it seems like Notre Dame just churns out NFL tight ends and NFL safeties. Like Taco Bell churns out chalupas, man. It's like crazy. I don't know how they do it. It's what they do. They've been doing it for, I think, like 2 decades. They see a pretty decently tall white guy and go, you could be a pretty good safety and or tight end. We're going to make it work. And then they do. They just make it work. They just see a 6'7"-ish, 6'8" white guy, about 225, 230 pounds, go, you know what? NFL tight end right there. We got this. And they do. They just do it every time.
My defensive player of the game here goes to Notre Dame defensive lineman Howard Cross III. 13 tackles for the big man, three of them solos, 1 sack, 3.5 tackles for loss. Notre Dame -5.5 covered, under 52.5. Yeah, my lone wolf went down the drain. And this one, number 21, Tennessee, 41-20 over South Carolina. Thing is, Joe Milton played about as well as I thought he was going to play. The stat line for Joe Milton allowed South Carolina to win this game. Spencer Rattler just didn't play like I was hoping he would. But for Milton, though, 21 of 32, 65.6%, 239, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Spencer Rattler, 24 of 35, 68.6%, 169, 1 pick, 11 carries, 19 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Punter Kai Kroger also completing a pass for 32 yards. Couple 100-yard rushers in this game. Tennessee running back Jalen Wright led the game in rushing, 16 carries, 123 yards, and a touchdown. Mario Anderson for the Gamecocks, also over 100, 10 carries, 101 yards, a touchdown, 2 receptions for 8 yards. Tennessee wide receiver Squirrel White led the game in receiving, over 100, 9 catches, 104 yards. And defensively, got to go with the pick 6 there. Tennessee defensive back Kamal Haddon, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 1 pass deflection, 28-yard pick 6, which luckily now I know my guy there at Tennessee Law School is Kamal Haddon's NIL agent. So that's pretty cool that he had a pick 6. Tennessee minus 12 covered easily, over 59 by a couple. We all got duped on this one. West Virginia 24-21 over TCU. This is a close one, but I did not know that West Virginia was going back to Garrett Green. I thought that they were sticking with the freshman that they played last week and won with, by the way. But big win. Did not expect West Virginia to be 4-1 at this point in the season. So they're in a good spot in the Big 12 right now. Anyways, for the Mountaineers, as their schedule gets tougher, though.
They just win, man. They get the job done. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe they sing Country Roads Take Me Home until they get a victory. And it just works.
It's the Fighting Pat McAfees. What do you expect?
Ugh. Don't remind me of that douchebag, dude. I'm so tired.
Quarterback Chandler Morris for the Horned Frogs here, 23 of 41, 56.1%, 298, 2 touchdowns, 11 carries, 51 yards, a rushing score. Garrett Green for the Mountaineers, 10 of 21, 47.6%, 142, 12 carries, 80 yards, 2 rushing scores. West Virginia running back C.J. Donaldson Jr. led the game in rushing outside of Green, 22 carries, 61 yards, a touchdown. TCU wide receiver J.P. Richardson, the Oklahoma State transfer, leading the game in receiving, 3 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, bottom guy gets it for me, West Virginia safety with a great name, Hershey McLaurin, 7 tackles, 5 solos, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections. If he's not sponsored by Hershey, like, what is he doing?
What is he doing for his NIL deals then? He's wasting his time. That's what NIL deals were made for. Have you seen the Iowa State one? It was like, I forget who it was. It was like purchase some bacon and ham and bacon. It's hilarious. Love it. Those are what NIL deals are for. You got to take advantage, man.
This is like Kool-Aid McKinstry getting signed.
Exactly, dude. Kool-Aid. Oh, yeah. You need it. Take advantage of your name and get some NIL money.
West Virginia, plus 14 wins outright. Big dog there. Under 52. I can't remember if McAfee picked West Virginia again as his super dog, because he's crushing everyone in the super dog standings on College Game Day. He had 50 points going into this weekend. I can't remember who he picked though. He's picked 4 straight outright dogs. It's crazy. Air Force, the Falcons, also 5-0, 49-10, thrashing San Diego State. Zach Larry, the Falcons threw more than 2 times in this one. It's crazy.
Woo!
We have an Air Force quarterback leading the game in passing.
My word. Dude, they're starting to get to 1950s football. We're making progress here.
6 of 7 for Zach Larrier, 85.7%, 189, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries, 103 yards on the ground as well for the Air Force quarterback. For the Aztecs, Jalen Maiden struggled most of the day, 13 of 24, 54.2%, 122, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 4 carries for 17 yards. Love my guy there leading the game in rushing outside of Larrier. Fullback Emmanuel Michel, number 4, 18 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Air Force wide receiver Cade Harris led the game in receiving, 2 catches, 82 yards, a touchdown, and 4 carries for 28 yards, a rushing score as well. So again, another odd thing. When does an Air Force receiver ever lead the game in receiving? And defensively, got to go with a guy that's having a heck of a season so far. Safety Trey Taylor for Air Force, 3 tackles, 1 solo, 2 pass deflections, 30-yard pick 6. Air Force minus 10.5 covers easily, over 43.5 by themselves. Number 12, Alabama, 40-17 over Mississippi State, about as bad of a win as I thought it was going to be. Jalen Milroe didn't have to do barely anything in this game. 10 of 12, 83.3%, 164. Big rushing day for him, though. 11 carries, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Mississippi State quarterback Will Rogers struggled mightily. 15 to 27, 55.6%, 107, one touchdown, 3 picks, though. Mississippi State running back Jaquavius Marks led the game in rushing outside of Milroe, 9 carries, 68 yards, and a 7-yard reception. Alabama tight end Amari Niblack leading the game in receiving, 3 catches, 61 yards. And defensively, I got to go with the guy at the bottom with the defensive touchdown, Alabama linebacker Chris Braswell, 2 tackles and a 28-yard pick 6. Alabama minus 16.5 covers easily, over 45. Number 7, Washington. Huskies are 5-0 and a squeaker over Arizona, 31-24. Got it done, though. Michael Penix, another monster game, though, through the air, 30 of 40, 75%, 363. He took a dive in the Heisman, though. No touchdowns. When Shedeur and Caleb Williams, Shedeur had 5, Caleb Williams had 6. Got to score those touchdowns, Michael.
Come on. He's actually tanking his draft stock so that he can go to the Minnesota Vikings.
You got to stay in the purple, yeah.
Gotta stay in purple. Dude, he's thinking. He's big braining.
How about Arizona? I did not know Jaden DeLauro was not playing in this game. Quarterback Noah Fifita. Great game. 27 of 39, 69.2%, 232, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 6 carries for 19 yards. That's an excellent performance for the Wildcat quarterback there. Washington running back Dylan Johnson led the game in rushing, the Mississippi State transfer. 16 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 catches, 48 yards. Healthy dose of Johnson there. Washington wide receiver Jeremy Bernard led the game in receiving, 8 catches, 98 yards, 5 carries, 12 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. And 2 touchdown day also by Arizona's wide receiver Teteroa McMillan. It's a great name.
Great name.
And then defensively, I think I'm going to go with Washington corner Thaddeus Dixon. 3 tackles, 2 solos, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections. And I know you want me to say the Arizona defensive lineman's name as well. So Tioalii Savea, I believe it is.
Good work.
That's probably one of the toughest ones we'll have.
Dude, that's a great thing about college football. You just get some names that just
the Samoans, they get you every time.
Dude, those guys from Hawaii, they just have the best names. They just destroy us.
Arizona plus 20 covers easily, under 66. I did not get my wish. I wanted a classic shootout. It was not.
Yeah.
And how about the Bulldogs? Number 25, Fresno State 5-0, 27-9 over Nevada. Mikey Keene is having a good season, 26 of 34, 76.5%, 269, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks for the UCF transfer. Nevada started quarterback AJ Bianco, 9 of 14, 64.3%, 97 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 carries for 10 yards. And then the Colorado transfer quarterback Brendan Lewis also playing in this one, 10 of 21, 47.6%, 70 yards, 2 picks, 16 carries for 25 yards. Fresno State running back Malik Sherrod, good game on the ground, over 100, 12 carries, 123 yards, a touchdown, 3 receptions for 18 yards. Massive day for Fresno wide receiver Jalen Gill, 8 catches, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. And defensively, how about the game for Fresno State safety Maurice Norris, Jr., 3 tackles, 2 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, and a pick. 2 picks for defensive back Imani Johnson of Nevada as well. Good game for him. Nevada plus 25.5 covers, under 50.5. FCS game of the week. Jacks on top. Number 1, South Dakota State stays undefeated, 4-0, 42-21 over number 12, North Dakota. Big Missouri Valley Football Conference win as well. Mark Gronowski, my guy. Not a lot in this one, but got it done. 13 of 22, 59.1%, 167, 1 touchdown, 4 carries, 22 yards, rushing score. UND played 2 quarterbacks. Tommy Schuster, their normal starter, 19 of 24, 79.2%, 118, 1 touchdown, 6 carries for 16 yards. And then Trey Feeney also playing 6 of 8, 75%, 48 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Love the big day for running back Isaiah Davis. He's one of the best backs in FCS. 16 carries, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 receptions for 18 yards. Leading the game in receiving here, UND tight end Quincy Vaughn, South Dakota State wide receiver Jackson Yankee, 3 receptions for 51 yards and a touchdown. South Dakota State minus 18.5 covered, over 54.5. Let's get to NFL action here in London. The Jaguars over the Falcons. Trevor Lawrence.
I think you're missing the best part of this game was the Toy Story production.
Oh, that was terrible.
Dude, whoa.
Terrible.
You watch it.
Absolutely horrid.
It was perfect. It was great in every way. Disney, I want you to sponsor me. It was great in every way.
I watched a little bit of it on my phone. It was so bad. And then at one point, like, it didn't work for like a play. There's like they just didn't. All the players disappeared, and they were calling the play, but you didn't see what happened.
Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. It was perfect. It was exactly what we all deserved.
I will continue to stick to my normal broadcasts, just like I do on Monday Night Football. Trevor Lawrence, though, up and down, 23 of 30, 76.7%, 207, 1 touchdown, 8 carries for 42 yards. Jags really, I mean, they let the Falcons in this game many times. But Desmond Ridder is not good. Especially, I think Logan is the one that always says that, how bad Desmond Ridder is, I think. 19 of 31, 61.3%, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and a fumble. Turnovers killed the Falcons all day. Bright spot for Atlanta. Their 8th overall pick, Bijan Robinson. Big day once again. 14 carries, 105 yards, 5 receptions for 32 yards. Travis Etienne pissed me off. How do you get 72 total yards on 23 touches? I have no clue. 2.8 yards per carry, absolutely atrocious. Surprising day, though. The leading receiver in this one, Falcons tight end Jonnu Smith, 6 receptions, 95 yards on 6 targets. Luckily, no one's watching the stream right now, so I can say that I'm praying that I can get him in my fraternity league. I put a $40 fab bid on him, so if $40 isn't enough for freaking Jonnu Smith, I'm gonna be really pissed off. Like, I need tight end help badly in that league, especially with Freiermuth injured right now, which we'll talk about. Calvin really pissed me off in this game as well. Was needed a lot more points from him than he got. Luckily, he scored, or else it would have been just a really bad fantasy day. But Jaguars wide receiver Christian Kirk, a guy who I just traded away, had a big day on double-digit targets, 8 for 84 on 12 targets. And defensively, how about the day? 2 guys here. Corner Darius Williams, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 3 pass flex, and 61-yard pick 6 off of Desmond Ridder. And Josh Allen, linebacker for the Jags, 3 tackles, all of them solos, 3 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 3 QB hits. Jags minus 3.5 covered, easily under 42.5. Eagles, go Birds, still undefeated, one of 2 teams, them and the Niners. 34-31 in overtime over the Commanders. And I don't need to hear your slander about us, Jimmy.
I'm a slander. I'm going to start doing it.
Because, again, just
a win's a win. I'll give you that. My frustration, I was talking to you yesterday. Man, it just felt like a false start was like on every play. Like, who's that guy in the Chiefs? Jawan James,
Jawan Taylor.
Jawan Taylor. It feels like Lane Johnson, the right tackle for the Eagles, does the exact same thing. So like I could see his leg kick up so far before the ball's hiked, and I feel like that's been like Lane Johnson's thing since like last year. I don't know if they're just missing it, but like Lane Johnson, I feel like every other play he gets a quick jump.
It's just like any other penalty. If it's not called, it's not a penalty.
Don't get me started on a Chiefs-Jets game. Oh, man. Horrible.
Jalen Hurts here. Big day for him. 25 of 37, 67.6%. 319, 2 touchdowns, 9 carries for 34 yards. Had the downfield connection with A.J. Brown all day. Sam Howell, pretty decent game himself, though, going into Philadelphia. 29 of 41, 70.7%, 290, 1 touchdown, 6 carries for 40 yards. Good bounce back for him after the Bills game last week. Eagles running back DeAndre Swift fell down to earth, though, in this game, unfortunately. 14 carries, 56 yards, a touchdown, 4 receptions for 23 yards. Mentioned A.J. Brown, massive day, 9 catches, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns on 13 targets. Double-digit target day for Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, 8 catches, 86 yards on 10 targets. Also, good news for fantasy owners who had him, like me, in one of my dynasty leagues. 0-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown off of a Brian Robinson fumble. And defensively, how about the day for Nicholas Morrow? Linebacker for Philly, 11 tackles, 10 of them solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits. Commanders, plus 8.5, covered easily. Over 43, 65 in that one. Yeah, we can skip this.
Honestly, I'm down for that because all I have to say is, wow, CJ Stroud is legit, and wow, the Steelers suck, fire Matt Canada. There's nothing else to say on this front. It's just Matt Canada's a horrible offensive coordinator, and CJ Stroud's awesome. That's just it. There's nothing else.
Texans 30-6 blowout of the Steelers. I should have known that the Steelers were going to lose this game, even though I didn't know it was going to be that bad. But how did the Texans not win on J.J. Watt's Ring of Honor ceremony day? Thought maybe because it was his Ring of Honor ceremony that TJ would have a big game. Especially that's what frustrated me all day was I thought Steelers had a really good chance in this game because their defense, because the Texans have like 0 offensive linemen. So that's what frustrated me. But CJ Stroud was quick with the ball out of his hands. Not a great completion percentage, but big passing plays. 16 to 30.
He avoided getting sacks. I mean, that's just what CJ needed to do. He just threw the ball a lot because he didn't spend a lot of time with the ball. He just was like, okay, this is either going to be incomplete or a pass. I'm just not getting negative yards here. And that's probably just how they won. That's probably how Houston drew it up. It's like, listen, Pittsburgh has an amazing line, and we don't have the best receivers, but if we can get the ball out within like 2-3 seconds, like it's with a QB of CJ Stroud's athleticism, we can avoid sacks, and that's just what they did all day.
Yeah, second most passing yards in a rookie's first 4 games behind. Who is it? I know who it is, but
who is it? I'm going to go with...
Probably not who you'd think either.
I'm going to go with Justin Herbert. No.
Herbert's third on that list, I believe.
I knew Herbert's up there. Was it Peyton Manning? I knew Manning.
I think he was 4th.
Damn, I saw a graphic.
Not exactly sure on Peyton. Cam Newton, 2011.
Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He had a great start to his career.
Yeah, and unfortunately, CJ Stroud is the best of the 3 top rookie quarterbacks right now, which
it's crazy to think
we'll talk about that next game as well.
We all
Um,
picked Bryce Young for rookie of the year, and he's not even the best rookie quarterback. Like, this is shocking.
but yeah, Stroud 16 of 30, 53.3%, 306, 2 touchdowns, 4 carries for 16 yards. Kenny Pickett again struggled, but against him all day. 15 of 23, 65.2%, 114 yards, 1 pick. I will say though, he did have some moments where it's just like, bro, throw the ball. Like, your receiver's open, throw it.
That's how I feel about Justin Fields and Joe Burrow half the time. It's like, throw the ball. Like, stop waiting for your first read to be open. He's not open.
Yeah, Pickett went down. Mitch Trubisky came in then, just 3 of 5, 60%, 18 yards. I was very excited fantasy-wise for the 2 running backs in this game. Both really good days. Dameon Pierce, 24 carries, 81 yards, 27-yard reception. And then Najee Harris. That's the thing, though. The Steelers, that is, while the passing game has continued to not be productive, the running game has improved every single week, which I'm very excited to see. I've drafted Najee in a lot of leagues, and I've been very disappointed so far. But he had his highest fantasy performance of the year this week, and I think the Steelers have a decent schedule in terms of run defenses that they're going to face. Najee, and they're getting back to, like they said on the broadcast, they're getting back to Steeler football, running the ball wise, getting the double teams up to the linebackers, and you saw Najee really produce in this game. 14 carries, 71 yards, 5.1 per carry is excellent, and a 32-yard reception that was really athletic play from Najee when he doesn't get a lot of receiving looks because of Jalen Warren. Devin Singletary threw a touchdown.
I have him on my fantasy team.
Well, I have Nico Collins in many leagues, and he produced just a little bit. Has been producing 7 receptions, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns on 9 targets. Massive day for him. And then defensively, I'm going to go with Texans defensive end Jonathan Greenard. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits. Texans +3 win outright, under 41.5.
Woo!
We can skip this one. We can skip this one.
I got it. Woo! All right.
Vikings 21-13 over the Panthers. I have no clue how the Panthers lost this game.
Well,
10-0, and Harrison Smith happened.
Hitman Harry, dude, he's still got it. Last year, he had Ed Donatel say, hey, I see your strengths. Screw them. I'm awful at my job. Then Brian Flores comes in and goes, hey, Harrison, your nickname is literally the Hitman. Do you want to hit people, including the quarterback? And he's like, yes. That's exactly what he did. He hits people. That's his thing. He's like Troy Polamalu. Like, he just freaking hits people, man. And then that's just what he did. And Kirk Cousins, I mean, other than that pick 6, he had a pretty decent game. I mean, it was a frustrating game. I turned off the game after that pick 6 because I just wanted to crawl into a hole and cry. And then, of course, the Vikings give up a career-long field goal. What is his name? Pinatero. Like, of course, a guy has a career-long field goal against the Vikings. It only happens every 2 games. Like, it's unbearable to see guys make 60-yard field goals on us every week. But, I mean Justin Jefferson, great. Everyone else, great. Second half, we really figured it out. And that, DJ Wanham scooped and score, great. So many good things.
This looked like a game between winless teams.
It felt like it.
I was very disappointed, though. Bryce Young had the chance to win or to tie the game at the end, and he just couldn't find anyone open. And also, I mean, the Brian Flores, the pressure packages that he was bringing, the Panthers O-line had no chance on a lot of them, especially once it got to 3rd and goal from like the 15. And it was a long way to go to convert. But, yeah, I mean, that's the type of situation where kind of expect Bryce to get it done. But it was also his first game back after the ankle injury, missing last week. I thought he played decently. Great completion percentage, 25 of 32, 78.1%, 204, 2 carries, 10 yards, and the fumble. That's one of the things, the biggest thing that I've been very disappointed about is Bryce Young's ball security. He hasn't thrown a lot of picks other than the week 1 game against Atlanta, but the fumbles have been eye-glaring. It doesn't take much, it seems, to hit the ball out of Bryce Young's hands right now.
Yeah.
So
he's just not physically strong enough for a lot of NFL defenders. I mean, it's not just his size. I mean, it is his strength. I mean, his size does play a role into it, but he's not strong enough to go up against NFL caliber linemen and NFL caliber linebackers.
He's got to get the little hand clamps. He's got to get the hand workouts in.
Come on, man. Dexterity. Let's go.
Or just get the stress balls.
Something like that.
Squeeze the stress ball all day. Keep doing that.
Something.
But yeah, Kirk here struggled a little bit. 12 and 19, 63.2%, 139, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Vikings running back Alexander Madison, good day for him. 17 carries, 95 yards, 3-yard reception as well. JJ leading the game in receiving, 6 catches, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns on 9 targets, killing my fantasy team in the league. Please, why you have to do that to me, I don't know. But Panthers wide receiver Terrace Marshall Jr. also double-digit target here. 9 receptions, 56 yards on 10 targets. And we have 3 defensive players of the game.
It's a defensive match, man.
Safety Harrison Smith, like we mentioned, 14 tackles, 8 solos, 3 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits. Linebacker TJ Wonnum, the game-winning touchdown, as it turned out to be. 6 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, 2 QB hits, 51-yard fumble return for a touchdown. And then how about Panthers safety Sam Franklin Jr., 4 tackles, 2 solos, a pass deflection, 99-yard pick 6 of Kirk Cousins. That one was interesting. Vikings -4 covered, under 46.
I got to get going. Thanks for having me on. I'll see you on Friday.
All right,
Go
man.
Vikes. I hate that team. Anyway.
Bills blowing out the Dolphins 48-20 here. Josh Allen was masterful on my bench. Of course he was. 44.5 fantasy points later. 21 of 25, 84%, 324 touchdowns, 4 carries, 17 yards of rushing score as well. Tua struggled. The offensive line, once Tron Armstead went out of this game, Sean McDermott really dialed up the blitz. And the defensive line really was winning anyways on 4-man rushes, not giving Tua any time to throw. But 25 of 35 for Tua, 71.4%, 282, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Another massive day for Dolphins rookie running back Devon Achane, 8 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions, 19 yards on 5 targets. I have no clue why he only got 11 touches. Seems like they should have continue to go to him, especially in the receiving game. But they just did not once they got down by a little bit there. Bills wide receiver Stephon Diggs, he had a massive game as well. 6 receptions, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns on 7 targets. And defensively, I mean, pick your Buffalo Bill there. I'm going to go I think with Dolphins, though, linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel, who's having a hell of a season. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. Bills -3 covered easily, over 52.5. 68. Broncos with their first win of the season, 31-28 over the Bears in an epic collapse of Chicago. 21-point blown lead for the Bears, 28-7 at one point. Broncos walk it off on a Will Lutz field goal. Justin Fields, this is his best game of his career and they friggin' lost 28-35, 80%, 335, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 4 carries, 25 yards, a fumble. Russell Wilson, again, continues to play well. It's a shame that the Broncos defense really has not played well at all this year because Russ has had good stats. I believe he came into this week second in passing in the league. So really good for Russ, but just not the defensive performances that Coach Payton would like to see. 21-28 for Russ, though, 75%, 223, 3 touchdowns, 4 carries for 13 yards. Bears running back Khalil Herbert, 100-yard day, 18 carries, 103 yards, 4 receptions, 19 yards, a touchdown on 5 targets. Another player on my bench, which was nice, would have won me the matchup probably, or gotten me close anyways, if I wouldn't have started the Steelers defense. How about 100-yard day for Bears wide receiver DJ Moore, 8 receptions, 131 yards, a touchdown on 9 targets. Bears tight end Cole Kmet, another guy on one of my fantasy benches, 2 touchdowns on the day on his 9 targets. Did not see that performance coming. And defensively, how about the day for Broncos linebacker Jonathan Cooper? 5 tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits, 35-yard fumble return for a touchdown off of Fields. Also, Nick Bonito, the rookie at Oklahoma, good day, 2.5 sacks. Broncos +3 or -3, pushed over 47. Ravens blowing out the Browns 28-3. No Deshaun Watson. That really hindered the Cleveland offense all day with DTR at the helm. Lamar Jackson, though, really solid day. 15-19, 78.9%, 186, 2 touchdowns, 9 carries, 27 yards, 2 rushing scores, and a fumble. DTR, like I said, struggled a lot in his first start. The Ravens defense was all over him most of the day. 19-36. 52.8%, 121 yards, 3 picks, 4 carries for 24 yards. He just did not see open receivers when they were there. Amari Cooper did not have a great day either because DTR was running for his life a lot. Browns running back Pierre Strong Jr. led the game in rushing. 5 carries, 49 yards for Strong there, so that's interesting. Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford there, but Strong leading the way in rushing in this one. It was a tight end kind of day with both top receivers from each team being a tight end. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews, massive day for him. 5 catches, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns on 5 targets. Browns tight end David Njoku leading Cleveland in receiving yards for them. Defensively, a lot of good performances in this one, especially on the Baltimore side. I think I am going to go with Ravens linebacker Patrick Queen, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. Ravens -1.5 covers easily under 38.5. Rams squeaking one out in overtime over the Colts, 29-23. I say squeaking because I have no clue how they blew a 23-0 lead against Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts, but that's what happened. And luckily for the Rams, they have a 5th-round rookie wide receiver that's playing out of his mind right now in Puka Nacua, catching the game-winning touchdown. Matthew Stafford, though, 300-yard day for him, 27 of 40, 67.5%, 319, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 2 carries, 14 yards. Anthony Richardson, horrid passing-wise in terms of percentage, 11 of 25, that's 44%. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 carries, 56 yards, a rushing score, and a fumble. Big 100-yard day for Rams running back Kyron Williams, 25 carries, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions for 24 yards. Mentioned Puka Nacua there. Again, just ridiculous stat line. 9 catches, 163 yards, the game-winning touchdown reception and on 10 targets. Tight end Tyler Higbee for LA also double-digit targets, 11 of them caught 5 for 64. Weirdly, also in this game, tight ends led the way for Indianapolis. Drew Ogletree led them in receiving, 3 catches, 48 yards, a touchdown on 4 targets. And then Mo Alley Cox also caught a 35-yard touchdown on his only target. Defensively, I got to go with Colts defensive end Dayo Odeingbo. 7 tackles, 5 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 4 hits on Stafford. Rams -1 covered, over 44.5. Maybe that's what the Rams were doing. They just needed the over to hit. Bucks crushing the Saints 26-9. Baker Mayfield was really solid. 25 of 32, 78.1%, 246, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Quarterback Derek Carr, I mean, he should never have played in this game. He could not complete the ball probably past 10 yards. So, yeah, he should sit. I mean, if he's really that injured in his throwing shoulder AC joint injury, just sit him, Dennis Allen, because it's not worth it at this point. If he gets re-injured or injured worse, you're not going to win games anyways. So, yeah, Derek Carr is not good at all. 23 of 37, 62.2%, 127 yards, 1 fumble. Quarterback Taysom Hill completed his only pass for 13 yards, 4 carries for 10 yards, and 1 7-yard reception for Hill as well. And then Jameis Winston, not good. His only pass was a pick. Bucks running back Rachaad White led the game in rushing, 15 carries, 56 yards, 3 catches for 22 yards. Massive receiving day for tight end or running back Alvin Kamara in his first game back. 11 carries, 51 yards, 13 receptions, 33 yards on 14 targets. I say massive receiving day because of the number of receptions, but it also was the least amount of yards in NFL history with someone that had 13 or more receptions. So there's that. And did not help at all in a standard league, which I have him in. Bucks wide receiver Chris Godwin, 100-yard day for him, 8 catches, 114 yards on 11 targets. Also threw a pass that was incomplete. Big day for Godwin after Mike Evans going down with a hamstring injury. Defensively, I got to go with the bottom guy there. Bucks defensive tackle Vita Vea, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. Got to shout out, though, Saints rookie defensive tackle Brian Breesy. I believe that's his first sack of his career. Could be wrong, though. Bucks +4.5 win outright, under 41. Titans rolling the Bengals 27-3. 27 unanswered by Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill was pretty solid, 18 of 25, 72%, 240, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 6 carries for 11 yards. Joe Burrow struggled again. I mean, between the calf and the offensive line, it's just rough. I mean, the Bengals are not good. It's a shame, but they're just not. 20 of 30, 66.7%, 165, and a fumble for Burrow. Derrick Henry got his King Henry status back after this game. Big day, 22 carries, 122 yards, a touchdown, 1 reception for 11 yards, and he threw a 2-yard touchdown as well. Killing my fantasy team. Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase led the game in receiving, 7 receptions, 73 yards on 9 targets. And defensively, I am going to go with Titans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair. 9 tackles, 5 solos, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections, 2 QB hits. I think they sacked Joe Burrow 6 or 7 times in this game. Titans +2.5 wins outright, under 41.5. Chargers, close one over the Raiders, 24-17. Again, this should have never been this close. I don't know why. The Chargers were leading 21-7 at halftime or something like that. They just stopped playing offense or something. Aiden O'Connell, though, first career start, struggled because of the Chargers D-line, but especially number 52, which I'll get to. But 24 of 39 for O'Connell, 61.5%, 238, 1 pick, 1 rushing touchdown, and 2 fumbles. Justin Herbert, it was disappointing, to say the least. had 2 rushing touchdowns, but the yards was not a lot, and he threw a pick. 13 of 24, 54.2%, 167, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 12 carries, 27 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, like I said. Chargers running back Joshua Kelly led the game in rushing, 17 carries, 65 yards. Big workload in the passing game for running back Josh Jacobs, 17 carries, 58 yards, a touchdown, 8 receptions, 81 yards on 11 targets. Chargers wide receiver Joshua Palmer led the game in receiving outside of Jacobs, 3 catches, 77 yards, and on 8 targets. Devontae Adams, double-digit target day for him, 8 catches, 75 yards, 13 targets. Also another player that killed my fantasy day. And how about the second tying for the second most sacks in a single game in NFL history? Linebacker Khalil Mack for LA, 10 tackles, 8 solos, 6 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 4 QB hits. That's just legendary performance by Khalil Mack and vintage without Joey Bosa in this game. Chargers minus 6.5 covered by the hook, under 49. Cowboys just demolishing the Patriots, and the defense also. Once again, another player that just destroyed me in fantasy this weekend. Dak Prescott, though, for Dallas, 28 of 34, 82.4%, 261, 1 touchdown. Mac Jones was a dumpster fire, 12 of 21, 57.1%, 150, 2 picks, and a fumble. Bailey Zappi really wasn't that much better, 4 of 9, 44.4%, 57 yards. And then Cooper Rush came in for Dak late, completed both of his passes for 20 yards. Cowboys running back Tony Pollard led the game in rushing, 11 carries, 47 yards, 3 receptions for 13 yards. How about Cowboys running back Hunter Luepke getting his first career rushing touchdown in this one, the former fullback at North Dakota State. Good to see him get in the end zone. Cowboys tight end Jake Ferguson led the game in receiving, 7 receptions, 77 yards on 7 targets, 7 wild for Mr. Ferguson there. And defensively, the 2 defensive touchdown guys get it for me. Cowboys linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, 7 tackles, 4 solos, and an 11-yard fumble return for a touchdown. And Cowboys corner Deron Bland, a just excellent performance. 4 tackles, 3 solos, 3 pass deflections, 2 picks, including 1 for a 64-yard pick 6. Cowboys minus 6 covered easily, under 43. Niners beating up on the Cardinals 35-16. This was a little bit closer than people thought at one point during the game. Josh Dobbs playing well. Brock Purdy, though, this is ridiculous. 20 of 21, 95.1% completion, 283, 1 touchdown, and a rushing score. Mentioned Josh Dobbs pretty solid, though. He's played well all season, despite the 1-3 record for Arizona. 28 of 41. They should really be 2-2 at that Giants game. 68.3%, 265, 2 touchdowns, 12 carries, 48 yards. Christian McCaffrey, though, that was the issue for Arizona all day. 20 carries, 106 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Oh, and then through the air, all he does is catch 7 for 71 and a touchdown on 8 targets. 27 total touches, 177 total yards, 4 touchdowns for Christian McCaffrey. That's how you do it. 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, a big day in the air for him. 6 catches, 148 yards on 6 targets. Double-digit target day for wide receiver Marquise Brown of Arizona. 7 receptions, 96 yards on 10 targets. And how about the rookie? Michael Wilson continues to impress. Caught all 7 of his targets for 76 yards and 2 more touchdowns. Also, double-digit target day for Cardinals tight end Zach Ertz. Caught 6 of his 10 targets for 53 yards. Defensively, I'm going to go with 49ers defensive tackle Javon Hargrave. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. 4 QB hits for Mr. Bosa there as well. Niners, minus 14.5 covered, over 44. Sunday Night Football, how about the close game for the Jets? Close one, but no cigar. Chiefs win at 23-20 on probably the most, the worst DPI call or holding call since the Super Bowl. That's what I tweeted out about the call on Sauce Gardner. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Most of the people couldn't believe it, especially Robert Saleh, who was absolutely livid at the ref, which I couldn't blame him because there was not a lot there, and I think they should have let them play at that point of the game, especially just like the Super Bowl, which the Chiefs, of course, were beneficiaries of both calls. Zach Wilson, though, how about the night? He played excellently. 28 of 39, 71.8%, 245, 2 touchdowns, 2 carries, 14 yards, and the fumble that really won the game for Kansas City. It is a shame that I really would have just liked to see him get the ball back and to see if he can go win it, because that would have been a key moment in his professional career to do that, but never got the ball back, unfortunately, with that fumble. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes struggled a lot of the night, 18 of 30, 60%, 203, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 7 carries for 51 yards. He could have probably thrown 3 or 4 picks. I mean, I don't know why Mahomes was off all night, or is just the Jets defense that good. But a couple of the balls he threw right to the guy. So, yeah, it was a weird night for Mahomes, though. Big night, and I loved it from the one guy that really did well for my fantasy team this weekend. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco, 20 carries, 115 yards, touchdown, 3 receptions for 43 yards. Leading the way in receiving was Jets wide receiver Allen Lazard, 3 receptions, 61 yards, touchdown on 3 targets. Big target night for Garrett Wilson of the Jets, 9 catches, 60 yards on 14 targets. And defensively, I'm going to go with the top guy there, Jets linebacker Quincy Wilson, 13 tackles, 10 of them solos, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, and a QB hit. Jets plus 8.5 covers easily over 41 by 2. Monday Night Football, Seahawks rolling over the Giants to complete the weekend of blowouts, really, 24-3 in MetLife. Daniel Jones was just getting rocked. Seahawks sacked him 11 times, as you can see at the bottom there. 27 of 34, 79.4%, 203, 2 picks, 10 carries, 66 yards, and a fumble, so minus 3 turnovers there for Daniel Jones. Geno Smith got injured near halftime, but came back luckily. Did not do enough to win me my fantasy matchup, though. Thank you, Geno. 13 of 20, 65%, 110 yards, and a touchdown, especially because Drew Lock led the Seahawks to a touchdown late in the second quarter there. 2 of 6, 33.3% for Lock, 63 yards, and an 11-yard carry. Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker III led the game in rushing, 17 carries, 79 yards, a touchdown. And leading the game in receiving was Seahawks tight end Noah Fant, 2 catches, 63 yards on 2 targets. Defensively, pick your Seahawk on who you want as your defensive player of the game here, as we have frozen again for another show. I don't know why it does this, but anyways, we'll keep rolling here. Corner, Seahawks rookie corner, Devin Witherspoon. He's my defense player of the game. 7 tackles, 6 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 3 QB hits. Oh, and by the way, he had a 97-yard pick 6, y'all. Really his coming out party in this game. Excellent performance by the 5th overall pick this year. The Seahawks minus 2.5 covered easily under 46. And as we try to unfreeze here, go into USFL news. Bunch of re-signings. It's USFL free agency. So the Houston Gamblers getting some guys back, re-signing wide receiver Anthony Ratliff-Williams, safety Jeremiah Johnson, defensive end Isaiah Chambers, and most importantly, the quarterbacks Montel Cozart and Kenji Bahar, who had a good season last year. Michigan Panthers re-signing the USFL Defensive Player of the Year, linebacker Frank Ginda. Massive get back for them. Memphis Showboats re-signing defensive back Delrick Abrams Jr. Philadelphia Stars, they re-signed wide receiver Chris Rowland, one of their best offensive performers there. And the Michigan Panthers, or the New Jersey Generals, my bad, in free agency, picking up some nice players, including defensive lineman Ethan Westbrooks. So that was some big signings there from for the New Jersey Generals. College football news, not very good here for Iowa quarterback Cade McNamara. He is out for the season. Torn ACL, I believe. ACL injury is what head coach Kirk Ferentz said, but I just assume that is a torn ACL there. And also in college news, NC State pivoting after their loss to Louisville. They are pivoting to sophomore quarterback MJ Morris as their starter going forward, ditching Virginia transfer Brennan Armstrong at the quarterback spot. NFL news, one scheduling note, the Week 6 Lions at Buccaneers game has now moved from a 1 o'clock to a 4:25 p.m. Eastern start, so make sure you make your plans accordingly. One IR guy to note, Ravens placing linebacker David Ojabo on IR. Out for the next 4 at least. Injury-wise, Browns running back Nick Chubb, he had surgery on his meniscus, an MCL. He is still going to need to have another surgery on his ACL to repair that. Bunch of guys getting their practice windows opened on either PUP or most of them on IR. Bills linebacker Von Miller expected to resume practicing coming off torn ACL from last year on Thanksgiving. Colts also opening the practice window for running back Jonathan Taylor with his ankle injury on the PUP. Bad news for the Bills. Corner Tre'Davious White has torn his Achilles. He is out for the season. Little over a year after, or a little over 2 years, I think it was, after tearing his ACL, now torn Achilles, done for the year. Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins, he has a rib fracture, but said it's all about pain management and how he heals, so possibly could even play this week with that rib fracture. Bad news for the Patriots, 2 of their best defensive players, rookie corner Christian Gonzalez. He has a shoulder injury. He is out indefinitely, as is Patriots pass rusher Matthew Judon, torn lower biceps. He's going to have surgery on that, hoping to return this season. Broncos running back Javonte Williams, he has a hip flexor injury. Shouldn't miss any time, though, if much at all. Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett, he has a bone bruise and a muscle strain. Bone bruise on his knee and a muscle strain. Could play this week, though. He's going to practice tomorrow, Coach Tomlin said, and we'll see how it goes. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert, he has a fractured middle finger on his non-throwing hand, the left hand. Also gruesome nail injury, they said, but not expected to miss any time, especially with the bye week coming up this weekend. Bears getting some help possibly for Justin Fields. They designated guard Tevin Jenkins to return to practice. The Eagles are on the opposite end of that. Guard Cam Jurgens, week to week with a foot injury, so loss up front, Philly. The Seahawks safety Jamal Adams, lasting just 9 plays into his season debut, coming off the torn quad tendon last year, has a concussion. We'll see if he can play this week or not. Or no, they have a bye. Yeah, they have a bye week. So good news for Jamal there. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford, he has a hip contusion, but Coach Sean McVay said he should be good to go. We'll see how he does this week in practice. Bad news for the Steelers. Tight end Pat Freiermuth, he's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks with a hamstring injury. So in steps second-round pick, tight end Darnell Washington. Texans, also bad news. Guard Kendrick Green out indefinitely with a torn meniscus. So the offensive line issues in Houston continue to be a problem. And the conclusion has finally come for the Raiders and defensive end Chandler Jones. They have released him, hoping that he is okay. A lot of stuff going on there with the mental hospital being what he said held against his will at the mental institution. Then getting arrested for violating 2 domestic violence restraining orders. So, and now this, I hope that he either, gets everything resolved and returns to football, or a more stable organization takes a chance on him. Someone, I know I am probably going to sound like a homer, but my 2 of my 3 teams, the Steelers and the Eagles, top class organizations that have a lot of structure, know what the goal is, what is okay, what is not okay. They understand what the philosophy is in each building. So those 2 teams, if Chandler Jones is returning to football anytime soon, those 2, I think, would be good landing spots. Other teams that have a lot of structure like that, San Francisco, I think the Lions as well would be a good one. Just going through the NFC teams here. On the AFC side, obviously the Patriots. He's played for Bill Belichick before. That would be a good landing spot. I think the Jets are, a good spot as well with Robert Saleh at the helm. The Bills, Sean McDermott. The Ravens as well with Coach Harbaugh there. I think that would be another good spot. In the South, I'm hesitant to say the Jags just yet, even though Doug Peterson is a very good head coach and has a lot of structure there in Jacksonville. Mike Vrabel and the Titans would be a good one as well. And then in the West, Andy Reid, of course, in Kansas City. I think that would be the only one I would say in the West. But yeah, hopefully everything is okay. Chandler Jones gets everything resolved, and we can see him back on the field relatively shortly. Signings to talk about here. The Bears, they signed former Patriots defensive back Daron Harmon to their active roster, so getting some secondary help there. Practice squad signings. Colts signed Broncos wide receiver KJ Hamler. Steelers signed Lions wide receiver Denzel Mims, coming off his ankle injury in the preseason. Ravens signed a defensive back DeAndre Houston Carson. The Broncos signed another Peyton guy, former Saints wide receiver Traquan Smith. And the Eagles, they signed corner Bradley Roby to their practice squad. And then USFL to NFL, the Lions, they signed Michigan Panthers wide receiver Trey Quinn to their practice squad. All right, we got games going on. We have not Maction yet, but we have some Conference USA matchups this week, Wednesday and Thursday. On tomorrow night, the first night of 50 straight days of football, which is just fantastic. Jacksonville State, 4-1 Gamecocks at the Mid-Tennessee State Blue Raiders, 1-4 for them. Somehow they are minus 3.5. They are a favorite at home. I'm going with Jacksonville State and the Gamecocks. I think they've been playing really well through the first 5 games of their FBS existence. And I'm rolling with Zion Webb and that Gamecocks team there to go in and get a CUSA win. Total is 52.5. I am leaning on the under, I think, maybe. And 8 p.m. ESPNU. The other game tomorrow night, FIU, the Panthers, 3-2 at the New Mexico State Aggies, who are 2-3. 6.5 for the Aggies at home there, the Fighting John Babingtons, as we will call them on our show. I like New Mexico State and the Aggies. FIU played decent in a couple games, but I think New Mexico State has the better team. And total is 50. I like the under, not sure about FIU's offense in that one. 9 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. And then Thursday, we also have 2 more college games, Conference USA-wise. Sam Houston State, 0-4 Bearcats at the 4-0 Liberty Flames. 19.5 for the Flames at home. Love Liberty in this matchup. Sam Houston has not been the same type of team as they were in FCS play. So give me Liberty. Give me the points with the Flames at home. Total is 46. Let's hit the over on that one. That's low enough to go over, I think. 7 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. And then the last game here for college in between our shows, Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, 3-2 on the road. 6.5-point favorites on the road at the 3-3 Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. Rolling with the Hilltoppers, Austin Reed is a fantastic quarterback for Western Kentucky. And really don't know too much about La Tech, but I think Reed and that offense can get it done, even though they've struggled a little bit on defense this year. Total 59.5. I like the under in that game. 8 p.m. ESPNU. All right, NFL pick standings here. Jimmy got us last week. Lone wolfed the Lions. While I was at the Packers game there, Logan taking his team as well. So we both lost on Green Bay Thursday night last week, but still just one game back. Jimmy, long season here. So trying to get back this week as we are all on the same page, though. Bears 0-4 at the Commanders, 2-2. 7-point favorites are the Washington Commanders. I think it dropped down to 6.5 now, maybe. But, yeah, I don't think there's any question Washington should win this game. They played so well against Philly last week on the road. Maybe should have even won that game. And the Bears, while they played well also on the road or at home against Denver, I mean, they lost. They blew a 21-point lead. I just don't think they have the defense to sustain against Sam Howell and that offense, especially Brian Robinson, looking for him to have a big game on the ground in this game. And look for the Commanders' defensive line to eat up the Bears' O-line as well. Total is 44.5 here. I'm leaning on the under, I think. 8:15 on Prime Video. And that is the show for today, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Next week, we'll be back talking NFL Week 6. Got the Thursday night kickoff game between the Broncos and the Chiefs, AFC West matchup there. Get you all your game recaps through college and the NFL. And like I said, preview any college games. We'll get action next week, I believe, as well. So that'll be fun. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, and X, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at Football Addicts Non. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all back for Football Friday.